Did you do anything fun or lovely for that Memorial Day weekend?
Hung out with the girlfriend and her friends in town, so we hung out with them. And remember Will from the Heisman?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
we all hung out, which was fun. It was a good time. So yeah,
Do we like the girlfriend's friends? Like that is a big key to relationships. As
liking the
have you
friends.
ever dated someone and you're like, her friends are terrible, and then it makes you feel like maybe they're not a good fit for you or a bad person because you hate their friends. I have definitely dated men that I'm like, his friends are not good,
Yeah,
and that influences the relationship.
that's a big thing. Like oh, we were talking about this. There's some people. I'm not saying that she has any friends like this. I do like her friend, but there's some friends that you can just tell, like, oh, you're not on my team.
Do you feel pressure that you have to win over the friends?
So much. I feel like that's a huge thing. You have to. Do you ever feel like you really kind of go out of your way to be liked by people?
Wait, do I ever feel like I go out of my way to be liked by people? Is this a joke question? Do you not know us?
I'm just
We
saying. Yeah.
we are people pleasers to the 1 billionth degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, of course. I will do backflips. I love people loving me.
What? That's crazy.
I
But
love
I
to be
would
loved.
never. No, there's no reason. Like,
You?
we didn't start a podcast because we have a desperate need to be loved. That would be ridiculous.
That would be
What?
no, that's not why we started the podcast. But I am a people pleaser. And so I do actually as you get older, this has been a thing I've been working on. As you get older and you have adult friendships,
Hmm.
you kind of have to start thinking about why am I friends with these people? Like
Yeah.
I have definitely had that situation where I'm like, I don't think I enjoy these people anymore. And why am I still friends with them? And why am I doing, backflips to try to keep the friendship alive?
Yeah.
I think that is a grown up thing that you have to go through in life where you're like, is this relationship serving me? So yes, I definitely am a people pleaser. I don't think it's a bad way to be. I think it's a way that you've got to learn how to take care of yourself and make sure you're being respectful of yourself instead of only pleasing others. But I think you can do both.
So I feel like people pleasing is kind of a pointless pursuit almost because you're not being yourself to please them,
Not
you know?
necessarily. I think you can be yourself and try to please others. But I
Kind
also
of.
do think you have to decide. It's not a pointless pursuit. It's a you have to decide, do you want to put your time and energy into it? Is it
Well, I
important
get.
to you or not?
Well, I mean, like I think the pointless pursuit is more of like in the trying to constantly please them kind of thing. The pointless pursuit of it is that you're not being your like you're kind of judging little parts of your personality to please them, as opposed to them just being naturally please like you like kind of being in lockstep with each other and actually liking each
Right.
other.
Like you shouldn't have to raise your level for anything for someone to truly care about you and like you and want to be around you. You should be
Yeah,
able to just be your authentic self.
yeah, not
But
necessarily raise your level, but like change your level to wherever their level is at.
but
So
if
that way
your
they like you.
authentic self takes pleasure and
Yeah,
loves pleasing people, I think that's okay too. Like
yeah.
I love being able to do something fun or cute or nice or surprising for someone and make them happy. I find joy in that. So I don't think it's
But
always about pleasing them. Sometimes it's about
yeah,
pleasing me.
well, yeah, that's like I think that's a little different. That's not like people pleasing. I think that's just being thoughtful. You know,
Right.
that's
They're
just being
intertwined a
being
little bit.
caring. Yeah, yeah. They're a little bit. It's a thin line between them.
But back to your original point is should you try so hard to get the friends to like you? I think if it's authentically who you are and you're doing your own thing, that's great. There's
Yeah,
no reason, there's no harm in putting in extra effort with people.
yeah,
And I don't think it's being phony or saying that trying to be something that you're not. It's maybe just being a more thoughtful, careful version of yourself. Like sometimes it's just being
yeah,
thoughtful,
yeah.
listening.
No, I think there's definitely times I've had I've had girlfriends that have had friends that like I just don't meet up with or like, and you do have to find a way to still be friends and coexist with them. Even if you think like, oh well, she's just a freaking turd, you still got to be like, well, but that's your turd, so I gotta, I gotta make this work somehow. And I mean, it happens. It's in friend groups. You have friends that you don't like that friend, but they're somebody else's friend, so you gotta be cordial.
Right. I think you
Yeah,
can always be cordial. I don't think
yeah.
you ever have to be a jerk. I did have a situation happen recently that I feel very badly about,
Oh, okay,
but
good.
I stand by my ownership of who I was in this moment. So I had just come off the NCAA tournament. And
Hmm.
I mean, I literally was on the road 30 of 32 days. It is an exhaustive, just like mind bend, constantly in public, doing all this stuff. And I got down to Florida to hang out with our friends. And our friends invited me to go out to dinner, but they had some other friends coming too that I don't know.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh, I don't want to come. I'm just not in the mood to have to talk to people." And they were
Yeah,
like, "What?" I said, I'm exhausted with people, and they're people I don't know, so they're going to ask me all these questions about ESPN like that. That's a thing. Like for some reason when you go out with people, everybody wants to know about your job. When I go
hmm,
out with people, I don't really ask them a lot of questions about their job. We just chat, right?
that's a thing. I have a friend who kind of brought this up. He never asks, and he says this is a very American thing. He's Cameroonian. Um, and they speak French, like you.
Yes, I knew that.
Um, and he was like, for some reason in America, you always ask like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? What's your job?
It's
Never
a
like,
status marker, and
yeah.
nowhere else that has good manners in the world does it. So
It's also
I,
not
I
as
dated a
important.
guy that lived in Switzerland, and so I spent a lot of time in Switzerland, and I really enjoyed the Swiss because they might be the most discreet people on earth. And by that I mean the first time you meet someone, you just get to know them. You don't
Mhm.
ask them what they do. And why you're asking people what they do is you're trying to put them in your mind, like rank them. Is this person important enough, or is
Yeah,
this person interesting or not? Like what
yeah.
someone does for their job should not determine your relationship with them,
It
right?
doesn't matter. It doesn't make them more interesting or like better or worse. Like I've met people with really cool jobs that I wouldn't want to spend more than like 5 minutes with, you know, like especially not saying any of your colleagues, but I've met people through like at like, random events or whatever, where I'm just like, ooh, you're a drip. This sucks. Why am I talking to you? And they're like a high level person at some company, whatever. And then you meet like a door guy who's just having a drink after work, and you're like, this guy is the most interesting person I've ever met in my life, and like we have an instant connection and bond. And like the standing has nothing to do with it.
Status,
Yeah,
right? It's a status thing, and I do think Americans are very involved with status, and we have the VIP sections at clubs, and
yeah,
you're always trying to get somewhere or be somebody.
yeah.
So, but back to my story, I wasn't trying to be a jerk or anything. I was just physically and mentally fried from the tournament
Mm,
and exhausted. And I just didn't have the energy to talk to people about anything. I
yeah,
wanted to hang out with my friends and catch up with them, but I didn't want to entertain strangers.
yeah.
And so this is the true thing that happened. My friends said to them, we're inviting our friend Holly to dinner. You're not allowed to talk to her. So if she
Oh, I
talks to
wouldn't even go.
you,
Don't go to that dinner. That's a
I,
setup.
well, I
That's just
didn't know
to
this
that
till
just make you
after.
look like crap.
I know. So those people I'm sure are like, man, your friend Holly's such a wench. But I did visit with them a little bit and engage in some of their conversation, but I just didn't initiate anything. Like I just
Yeah,
sat there and enjoyed listening to my friends and laughing and enjoying their company. But sometimes I feel like you have to be on. I'm using
yeah,
air quotes on for
yeah,
people. Do
yeah.
you ever feel that way?
Oh, all the time. I'll randomly, it will have like every once in a while. Sometimes it's like once a week, or it'll be a month or two, where I'm just like I have to sit in my room with just like a TV show on and not look at my phone, and I just have to completely disconnect just so I can be not on,
We call
you
that
know.
recharging your battery. I think
Re-
that's an essential part of humanity is there you have to take time to recharge your own battery.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
we do not. A lot
it's
of
I
us don't
think
do that.
there's some people everybody's obsessed with that introvert extrovert thing. And I like, it's like, oh, if you're an extrovert, you get charged up by meeting new people, and that gives you energy. And if you're an introvert, it takes energy. And part of me kind of thinks that everything takes energy. It's more of an enjoyment thing. And also you can be a mix of both of those things. So like I am probably an extrovert, but like I'm also like an only child that like can be overstimulated. So sometimes I need to just lay down and like watch Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Speaking
You
of
like
sweet,
your alone time sometimes. I
yeah,
have noticed that.
yeah. And then I think it just I always have such a better mood if I've had like a nice day where I've just kind of like I went for a walk the other day and I found this little walking path and I was just listening to my podcast, walking by myself, and I did like an hour long walk just up to the upper west side from on the West Side Highway, and it was great. It's delightful. It was like my best day of that week.
I think
And
it's a real skill that people have to really hone in on is what charges your battery.
yeah, yeah, it's hard to find out because like some things feel like they charge your battery, you know? Like sometimes you'll be like, oh, I love hanging out with like all my friends. This makes it like I'm having so much fun. And then you start to notice like, oh, I'm exhausted,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between what intellectually stimulates you and what charges your battery. So I would say the
Yeah.
feeling it is different. So I'm very intellectually stimulated. There is nothing I love more than wandering around.
Yeah.
I am a wanderer. I will go to New York City and just wander different areas, different streets, find different stores, find different cafes, whatever. I love wandering. And
Hmm.
that just lifts my soul and brings me. So I would say that recharges my battery. It
Yeah.
also takes energy, but it recharges my battery in a way. And bookstores. I'm at my happiest. Oh, I found a new Barnes and Noble, by the way, in
Oh,
Utah. Remember our favorite Barnes and Noble closed? I found a new
oh,
big
really?
Barnes and Noble in Salt Lake. So next time you come home,
Nice.
I'll have to take you there. We
That
love
was
Barnes. We love bookstores, any
well,
kind.
you love the bookstore. I like bookstores. I like them. I'm a DVD store guy. I went to Walmart and found a $5 bin for the $5 DVDs, and I was like a kid in a toy store. I was, oh my God, look at all these things. I just was like going through them. I think I bought, what did I buy? Some movie with Russell Crowe. And I was just like, oh, yes, this is so much fun.
So that's a I don't know if that's a recharging your battery or if it's like finding things that fill you up are important.
Yeah, kind of think there's things that kind of make you giddy. I was talking about this with some friends earlier. That's how I start every story. I was talking about this.
Me and my intellectual thought group, my friends.
We talk about the big things, but I was probably just pontificating at somebody who didn't want to listen. Sorry to my roommates and my girlfriend, but we were chatting, and I was like, I think you got to find that level of like, you're an adult, but you have to still have that little kid in you, and you got to feed the kid. So if you're not having fun and being playful and being silly every now and again, that kid gets bored. The kid like kind of goes away a little bit, and then you're just kind of a boring adult.
Right.
You know?
What sparks joy in you? So there's a great podcast that you and I both enjoy listening to from time to time, Huberman Labs, that he's
Mm,
a neuroscientist from Stanford, and they talk about a lot of health hacks and things like that. But one of his episodes he did was with a doctor who was end of life specialist. And so
mm,
he, palliative care. And so he was with a lot of people at their end of life. And some of the things that people that had end of life moments, he talked about what are the things that most people at the end of their life regret, or what's a common theme. So one of them was working too much. People
mm.
spent too much time at work, but didn't play enough. And the sense of play, and they got into this long conversation on how important play is for our psyche and our spirit. And so I think I do a good job of playing. I probably work too much, don't play enough. But when I
Yeah.
play, I have fun. Like I'm silly. We do fun stuff. We do dance competitions,
Yeah.
karaoke, games,
Which
game
I
night.
won. I won our dance competition this year, by the way. I want that to
I
be
know.
known. Our Just Dance competition, I swept. And I beat the champion of the children's league as well. Which some people would say that's not good to gloat about that, but oh, whooped her. It was pretty bad.
You won all age divisions. It's been bittersweet for me because I had been the undisputed dance
No, you weren't. You never
champion
were. You never
for
were.
20 years.
That's not true at all. That
Yes, it
is
is.
a complete fabrication. No, it's not.
I
We'll get family members on the phone. You maybe were undisputed champion like last year, maybe.
let's
But I
just say
think
I'm frequently the champion. And
eh,
you beat me this year. You beat everybody this year. So congratulations.
I mean I've won I think I've gotten I got three belts at the least. Undisputed champion for
Congratulations.
20 years. Oh, don't come in here lying to the
I've been,
champion.
I win a lot. Can you be around people and not have to put on this front of what you do or what your status is? Can we do a better job just getting to know people and interacting with them and connecting with them without putting them in some kind of status rack in our brain?
I mean, I know what you're going for here. We want the positivity, spread the good vibes, but part of me is like, I don't want to, no new friends. I'm good.
No new friends?
Just with the people that I know already. I can do that with those people. I'm joking, obviously.
Yeah, that's hard because I think new friends,
It's a
you
lot of
kind of have
work.
to get to know you all over again, right? Like it's a whole
Yeah,
new process and all the layers. And I have made new good friends in adulthood, I would say.
yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah, for sure. But I'm just like, whew, all right, let's tend the gardens of friends I have now for a minute. Stop just pouring on new ones.
I love how you said that. Let's tend the garden. So it is important. This whole thing started with the trying to impress your girlfriend's friends. Do you do it or do you not? And you said, of course. How is it important for you in your generation to tend the garden of friendships and relationships? What are some things you do mindfully?
It's interesting. I have been thinking a lot about this because a big part of it is we have social media. I feel like I'm very connected with a lot of my friends, but I really just send them a meme here or there. And so I'm working on being more like, just asking how their day's going and like just catching up, maybe a phone call or putting together like a dinner or something is kind of what I need to start doing. Because I very much am just like here's a meme. There you go. I'll see you when I see you.
Ooh, yeah, I think that's a good. I think social media has been really good for keeping us connected in a way, but
Kind of.
disconnecting us in real life, right? So, like, I think I
Yeah.
probably pay attention to more people. I've seen photos of their kids. I know what's happening in their lives. I'm more connected with many people in some respects, but not actually connected with them.
Yeah,
Or
it's like
like,
fading. It's fake
right,
connection. It's like, oh,
right.
I've seen, there's probably close friends of ours that I've seen their kids on Instagram recently. And I'm like, oh, I saw them. Great. Go on with my day. And then it's like, well, you didn't actually like see or experience like that. You haven't met
Or
their
make an
kid or like,
effort to go see the children, right?
yeah,
You
you
need to
haven't
make
hung
an
out.
effort to go see the children, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's tough. I mean, I feel like we're both very anti-social media anyways. Not anti, but like we see it's like, ugh, frustrating.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
It's not real and it feels kind of real. So then you
Oh,
get
you said anti-social media.
anti-social media.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said we're both antisocial, and I was like, I
I mean,
disagree.
you are the one that just went to a dinner where you wouldn't let the new people talk to you. So
that was that was an extraordinary situation. That was a unique situation.
I've spent, well, not my whole weekend, but I spent part of my weekend impressing my girlfriend's best friend. So, I mean, I don't know if we're antisocial, but one person,
No, I think
I'm
I'm
teasing,
selectively social.
which I think is good. I think you have to
Yeah,
be.
I think that's a healthy way to be because the other part is my job is so people oriented.
Yeah.
I'm with people constantly, and sometimes you can get overstimulated.
Yeah. It's a lot. People are a
Speaking
lot.
of overstimulated, guess where I'm going this week?
Where you, oh, you're going to,
This is our special time.
yes, it is.
What do we do in June?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma City Women's College World Series. Let's shout out the ladies. So, can we tell one or
Sorry,
two cute softball stories,
that
and then get to our
is
chaos theory?
that is one of my chaos theories.
Stop it! Are
That
you
was going to
kidding
be one of
me?
my, because you said that you were going to talk about it, or since you said you were going.
Oh my
So I was like,
gosh,
ooh, we should talk
you
about
are the
softball.
most adorable, cute son ever. That you
Yeah.
are so thoughtful. Okay, so this might get me in trouble a little bit, but this is one of my top softball memories of all time. So you have gone to the World Series. I think we told the story last episode for Mother's Day about how I left you in a hotel room unattended,
Oh, yes.
for a week.
Yeah.
That was not one of my best mothering moments,
What are
but
you going to do?
this is one of my best mothering moments. So you came and you were working at the Women's College World Series. So you were 20 years old and you were working in the College World Series. And after Oklahoma won, and
This is the
sometimes they will
exact
invite
memory
us.
I was going to tell.
So we get an invitation from Toby Keith, legendary country music singer who recently passed away very sadly. I'm so heartbroken. He was just such a lovely man to us. He was so kind. And he loved softball. He really was very supportive of Oklahoma sports, but really into softball. He and his wife Trish would be there every year. And so we go to Toby Keith, and Oklahoma is having their big party.
Mhm.
Well, at midnight, you turned 21. And these adorable ladies, they had to be what, 50, 60 years old,
They're probably like 60s, maybe.
probably in their 60s. Cute little softball fans. They insist on buying you your first shot because you've officially turned 21. Now, I
Yep.
did find out later that my boss accidentally had been buying you beers all week and she didn't know you weren't 21. Or maybe she did.
Who knows? We don't
You're
have
not
any
throwing her under the bus
way.
here.
I don't
We
know.
love you,
We don't
Meg.
have
We
any
love you,
proof
Meg. But
either
anyway,
way.
so these cute ladies at the bar buy you your first shots as a 21-year-old. And I just remember us being like, yeah, you're taking your first shots. And then the whole team was dancing. And as you know, I'm a dancer. I'm a closet dancer. I dance all the time. We are a dancing family. And somehow, like in the middle of the softball, I'll never forget. It was Sydney Romero, Shay Knighton, that era, that group, their
Mhm.
last national championship. And all of a sudden, we're dancing, and you're in the middle of 20 hot women, and they're just dancing up on you, like bump and grind, dancing on you. And I remember yelling to you across the room, "Happy birthday! Happy 21st
I
birthday!
think it was somebody
I've got
else's
you 20
birthday.
women." Huh?
Wasn't it somebody else's birthday too? And so Toby Keith sang happy birthday.
He
And we
did.
were just like, that's for me. That's mine.
That's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know how many other people gave their son a better 21-year-old moment.
21st birthday. Yeah. That was a great one. And I think I also had, because then we went back to the hotel and you went to the room because you were tired and we had a flight at 7 o'clock in the morning. And one of the producers was like, "Oh, you're 21. I'll buy you a drink." And I was like, "Okay, I'll come. I'll meet you up there." And you're like, "Okay, don't be too crazy." And then said producer, I forget his name, he bought me what was called a bear fight.
What? A
It's a
bear fight?
shot
What
called
is
a
that?
bear fight. I've been trying. I've never had one since, and I don't know. I've never ordered one since. I don't know anything about what a bear fight is. It's something to do with a car bomb, the drink a car bomb.
I can't remember. Did you miss your flight?
No, we made the flight. Was I happy while I was on that flight? No, it was not a happy
So
flight.
happy 21st.
I think that was it's a good lesson, You got your ups and your downs.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. But you were
It was
really
great.
enveloped by the softball community. They have loved you and opened their arms to
Yeah.
you. So,
But 90% of my followers on Instagram are probably just softball fans.
oh, good.
They love you.
They're
They're your softball fans. And then they're
Yeah,
like,
but
hey,
they
you seem
also
cool.
love you, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So this year, Oklahoma is trying for the rare four-peat,
Ooh.
and And by rare, no one's ever done it. Wait,
A little
maybe
dynasty
UCLA did
action.
it, but one of theirs was vacated. I gotta get that. I think they did it, but it was vacated. So I'm not sure if we're calling it that they did it or not. But anyway, Oklahoma's going for four-peat, would be historic.
Yeah.
But Texas looks very good. The Longhorns are playing well.
Okay.
Alabama had a big upset Tennessee. Stanford is going. Their
Oh,
pitcher
Stan.
is my favorite pitcher in the tournament, Nigeri Kennedy. So you're all going to want to tune in and watch Nigeri for Stanford. She's phenomenal.
We're a big Stanford household here. My roommate went to Stanford. A bunch of my friends went to Stanford. And then I know that this is not the right time. I completely forgot to tell you this. One of my friends who went to Stanford knows Huberman, and he knows that we love him.
Wait, Huberman knows we exist?
Yes, he does. Because one of my friends is good friends with him. She studied under him, so she's gotten the word along. I didn't get any response, but at least we know Huberman knows that we like Huberman.
Wow, that is so exciting. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his work. He does a great job. I have implemented tons of his research, including, let's give our listeners this one tip and then we'll move on.
Okay.
So Huberman is big on, he's a uh, neuroscientist, but related to ophthalmology. So he has figured out, along with his colleagues and researchers, that within 10 minutes of waking up, if you go outside and get 10 minutes of direct sunlight into your eyes, and that's not staring up at the sun, it's just like a gaze into the distance, where you're getting sunlight into your eyes. It basically kickstarts your neural system in your brain, and it makes you feel better. So if you can imagine, have you ever seen a flower when all of a sudden the sun comes out and the flower just opens up and blooms and its face opens to the sun? That's kind of what your brain is doing. And then on a cloudy day, you have to get 20 minutes of sunlight. So we've tried to do that. Have you implemented that in your life? Because I have.
Um, I mean, I live in a third floor walk up, so that's a little bit.
That might be a no.
Yeah. I do try to get I try to get as much sunlight as I can,
But it
but
doesn't
when I
count
wake
going
up,
through a window or a car window or stuff like that. Like it, and it's basically like getting you out in nature, which I think is a huge piece of success for your brain and for the way I imagine it is it's a way to turn the light switch on your brain in your brain on every morning.
yeah, I love Huberman stuff, and I think it's very interesting, and I try to implement what I can. A lot of like the build, like goal building and like that kind of and focus stuff, I really pay attention to. The sun one, it just drives me crazy because I'm like, so every morning I have to wake up at like 6 a.m. I have to walk down my three-story walk up, walk out past all the delivery drivers, and then like find a ray of sun in the. It's just for people in a city, it's tough because cities are not
Well, let me
built
ask you this.
for it.
Don't you have a rooftop in your apartment?
I do, but there's a huge shadow on it, like during the summer, so you don't really get
Oh,
sunlight until about noon.
or just open your window and poke your little head out. I see the sun shining brightly out your window.
Well, it's not direct sunlight. That's the thing. That's the one Huberman rule that I'm just like, oh boy, it's a tough one.
Okay. Well, work on it because every time I do it, I feel better.
Okay, okay,
I absolutely, I think it engages and energizes and builds my life.
that will be
Okay.
that's my next.
Your
I'll
next
work
goal.
on that. That's my next goal.
Okay. So that's interesting because that brings me to what my topic was. Do you want to see my topic? I
Yeah,
pulled them out of the hat, but I just picked this one because we're kind of already on it. Habits.
habits.
So I sent you something on Instagram, and I probably should have had this pulled up for our podcast to be more organized. It has this list of habits that are like what they call micro habits. So I think that one thing I really struggle with in my life is habits because I never have the same day twice. Just given my job and how much I'm traveling and how much chaos I have, I
Okay.
I struggle with habits. But what I liked about this post that I saw is I don't have to have these big habits. I need to have some small habits that help me. So, can I give us a suggestion of 3 habits we could incorporate into our life?
You know what? I think it's more fun the conversation we're about to have. I've been telling you this for years. I've written you. So we talked about the planners, right? I've written habits in the planners for you. So this Instagram post is beating me.
Maybe it's just I need habits, and so I'm looking for ways to help get them. And I'm admitting to you that it's something I struggle with. So I
That's
have
fair.
one.
I'm
I have
speaking it more
three
fun.
habits that I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Okay. The first habit I'm working on, I actually learned about this from Candace Parker. And when we were in the WNBA bubble, we were in the same hotel room for 90 days.
Hmm.
It was one of the most challenging, difficult experiences of my life psychologically. And I talked to Candace. She and her wife, Anya, would invite me over to dinner when we were in the bubble because I was so lonely. I was the only person there from ESPN. I was by myself. And that's when I really got close with them and their family because they kind of helped support me through a challenging time. And Candace said, you have to get up and make your bed every day. Like if you get up and make your bed, it is a small habit that leads to success of being organized and taking care. And so ever since then, that was 4 years ago, I get up and make my bed every day. And I'm not talking about tucking the corners. I just make sure my covers are flat, my pillows are on, that my bed looks nice, and that I have put 30 seconds of effort into starting my day in an organized fashion. And I think that is a really important habit that has helped me feel and be more organized. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, that's one of it's. I mean, it's funny. That's also Jordan Peterson, 12 Rule of Life. You know, and I know everybody hates him now, but
I'm not familiar with him.
don't worry about it. He's a weirdo. But then, like I've heard that many a time. I try to do that one. I try to do
You
that one
just
every.
don't be a liar. You literally just, when I said it, looked over at your unmade bed, didn't
Yeah,
you? I saw
yeah.
your eyes dart
I'm
over there.
staring right at it. There's a T-shirt hanging out of it.
So your bed's not made, and you don't
Not
make your bed, do you?
not currently. I try to.
I'll say this: I think it is an attractive quality for a man to have. Like if I go into a man's room and its bed's unmade, ugh, disorganization.
Yeah. Well, I got her already, so it's more about the keeping. That was a joke. It's a joke.
Is that a habit that you believe in or you see the value of?
Kind of. I go back and forth with some of the stuff like that. I mean, I do. It's an easy one, so I'm all about it. And there's other stuff. Like I try to have like a habitual. I try to go to the gym at least times a week. Or do something, get 10,000 steps. Have one really healthy meal a day. Like those are the kind of the things that I have always really focused on because I think those, in the same way as the bed thing, you're it's like the little wins throughout your day, they stack up, right? And then like the bigger wins also stack on top of those. But the problem is like, let's say you're busy one day, you don't make your bed, and then you're like, oh, I didn't make my bed. Well, that's a little loss, you know? And so
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like I try to prioritize them. If I like when I get to like a really good, like super organized place, the bed's made. Bed's made every day. So it depends on what I'm focusing on. Because you don't want to accidentally start giving yourself a bunch of like, oh, I didn't do this, or oh, and I've talked to you about this, that like getting hard on yourself kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, because
But
that
that's
pushes you back the other direction. And I've seen this go. I This is not our first Instagram post that you've been like, we should do this, and then a month later you're like, I didn't do it, you know. And
yeah.
so I still, it's this Conor McGregor quote, like idea, but like just finding those wins as opposed to adding superfluous loses that like you don't really care
Losses.
about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, losses, sorry. Like for me making the bet, I don't really care that much. I will make it when I
But
make
don't you
it.
feel better or more organized when it's made and you come into a nice room and your room's organized and looks good?
Yeah, but I mean I try to keep my room pretty clean anyways, so it's not like a huge thing. But and I guess I'm not disagreeing about the bet. I'm just more
Mm-hmm.
saying
It's just one small thing we're talking. Yeah, like the
it's
idea. But the
yeah, it's
idea of
down the
habits is
yes.
you do it without thinking about it.
Yeah.
Is you do it because this is how you organize your life. And by doing these small things, you are living a more organized life.
Yes, and that's why, yeah, that's what I'm saying as well. I just the bed thing always kind of bugged me because I'm like, I agree, I don't like disagree with it, but it's also
Mm-hmm.
something about it that's kind of like belittling. You know, it's like make your bed. I'm like, leave me alone. I'll do whatever. Not you, but like it's that some of those Instagram posts I see them and I'm just like, make your bed every day, and then it's a picture of a lion, and I'm like, why can't it be just like go to the gym? Like this is what I've been working. Go to the gym like a couple times a week. Read 5 pages of a book. You know, like stuff that actually fills you up as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
chores. Because
Well,
just
that's
doing
the beauty,
chores
though,
is not
is
like a great habit. Doing chores are not, you should just be
right.
doing those anyways. So it's not really a win.
No, but I guess that's the beauty of habits is it has to be very personal and it
Yeah.
has to be something that makes you feel like you are improving or impacting the quality of your life.
Yeah.
And you get to choose what they are, right?
For
That's the
sure.
beauty of habits. It's
It,
so personal.
yeah. But I kind of equate it to, I like with personal training stuff. Like you wouldn't, when you're teaching people healthy habits, I don't say take a shower every day, you know? That's because that's not something that's involved in unless you're not showering and it's to the point where it's like noticeable. Yeah, but that's just a thing you should be doing regardless.
Oh, right. It's not something that you talk about. It's just a way of
It's
living.
you should just be like, I will probably make my bed. My bed will be made, but if my bed's not made, I'll make it later. You know, your bed's gonna get
Mm-hmm.
made. You should just do like my room. I'm going to do my laundry today. You should just do your laundry. Like
That's not
that's
part of the habit,
when
right?
it's adding healthy habits, especially if it's because you want a greater change, those little things are just natural things you need to do. I know you do your laundry. I know you make your bed. That's you're good. And like in the bubble, yeah, I mean you definitely need to make your bed because you have your room getting cleaned. So like, you're good.
Yeah, nobody was cleaning our rooms because it was COVID.
Yeah, and you're
And I
living if you're
actually,
yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
I actually was getting so depressed from being stuck in the same spot. So every Saturday I would wake up and I would rearrange my room. I would rearrange the
Yeah,
furniture in the hotel room.
yeah.
So I would make it pretend like I was in a new spot. And that's a whole nother story. That's an episode of
That's a whole that's yeah.
let me ask you this question because so you are an aspiring actor. Um, and as an actor, you've had a lot of different jobs because you have to be able to pay your bills in between the acting gigs. And one of your jobs was being a personal trainer. You've done all the certifications, all the coursework. You've been a very good personal trainer.
Yeah.
What would you say are important habits for people from a health standpoint? Like if I was going to add one new habit this week that could greatly impact my health, what would it be?
I'll give you three. Number one, try to have a meal with as little processed foods as you can.
Hmm.
Okay. Because it seems easy, but any like salad from Panera or something, soup, there's tons of processed crap in there. Like they literally sprinkle chips and like just toss it in all this dressing and stuff. But you can make a salad at home for like half the price. That's twice as healthy, and you can make it taste great with like some balsamic vinegar and some oil and some salt, you know? And that's way less processed food.
So eliminating processed food.
Like just and processed foods they're bad for you, but if you need to have them, you need to have them. You're on the road a lot, sometimes you have to, right? Um, but eliminating just one meal a day that's not processed food. I've been doing little Mediterranean salads where I get like cucumbers, onions, um, tomatoes, and then like some sausage. Sausage is a little too processed. Chicken's probably better, or no meat if you want. And then just putting a little balsamic and salt on it, whip it up a little bit. Delicious,
Mm,
you know?
okay.
And then just picking 2 days in the week to go exercise. That can be going for a long walk, something that's longer than 30 minutes, or doing a little yoga, anything, but something that's moving your body and pushing yourself. A lot of times people, like I see people at the gym and it's like this, it's choice fatigue, right? You get to the gym and you're like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? You just go. Let's say you know three workouts. You know how to do a push up, you know how to do a squat, and you know how to do a sit up. Just go do those and do them till they're hard to do, and then do a couple more, and then you're great. And then go home because you did a great job. That's all you need to do.
Again, back to my Instagram scrolling, I saw a post on Instagram that said people spend 90% of their time worrying about all these different things with health instead of just doing 5 basic things that impact their health every day, like drinking enough water, daily sunlight, being
Yeah,
active,
yeah.
like I think you're right,
Just
is
wasting
there's so
time.
many choices of things we can do to change our bodies and our life, but none of us are just doing the basics.
The basics.
Sleep, water, daily sunlight,
Sleep,
stretching.
sleep, water, exercise, sunlight, and uh, a decent diet, especially 3 meals a day. I it There's people who have no business intermittent fasting. You don't eat enough already, and then you don't, and then you go out and you try. I Sorry, now you're just bringing out the stuff that bothered me about personal training.
You'd be proud of me. I actually went out and walked yesterday 30 minutes in my walking boot with my broken foot because I was like,
Oh,
I'm not moving enough because of this broken foot. So I just went and
well,
walked.
like you can do
Anyway,
physical therapy for the foot. Maybe okay. Is the foot okay?
the foot's okay.
Okay.
But I had to get out and go for a walk because I was losing my mind to not be so mobile. So anyway, all right. Thank
You
you for
gotta be
calling me,
careful with the
honey. I'm
foot.
sorry we went too long this week, everybody.
We
We just
did.
had a lot to talk about.
We had a lot to talk about. It won't be that long.
Okay. And mom has to go because I have a flight to go to the Women's College World Series. Be sure to watch, everybody.
Yes.
It starts on Thursday, all day, every day, ESPN. You don't want to miss it because who loves softball, honey?
We love softball.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.